Welcome to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. This video is on your Monday Night Raw results, superstar spoilers, and your wrestling news around the world, and also some birthdays. Advertised dark main event from Raw was John Cena and Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens in a tag team match, according to the arena's website. And former WWE performer Serena Deeb turned 29 years old. And guess what? Spoilers for TNA. She's back in TNA. Well, she was born June 29, 1986. She continued to wrestle in Japan, and her Wikipedia page states that she also works as a yoga instructor. She also, no spoilers, I just gave one. Former WWE wrestler John Heidenreich turned 43 years old on Saturday. He was born June 28, 1972. His son Roderick is a highly touted high school basketball player. And here's a video link for Xavier Woods is a WWE endorsed Up Up Down Down YouTube gaming channel with The Miz, Jimmy Uso, or Makazi, Kofi Kingston, and Heath Slater backstage doing a Mortal Kombat X Cinnamon Challenge. And again, go to that link. Also, I'll be posting a link here for WWE Swerve, a new episode on the network. Wrestler Dolph Ziggler appeared on Chad Duke's radio show and stated that he has not re-signed with the company as of yet, despite a Boston Herald story indicating that he had. Quote, "I'm thinking about it right now," unquote, Ziggler said. Also quoted, "I had a request for an upcoming contract that would end in a few months from now, maybe 2 or 3 months from now, and they requested back what they would like. I countered another offer, and we're waiting to finalize some things." Quote, "I love WWE, and I can't picture myself wrestling somewhere else, but it's also becoming now where that Wednesday and Thursday. And I can't just do that and get some outside live events for comedy and different movie and television options, which would only be to promote myself as a WWE superstar, to make myself a bigger star so I can advance more in WWE. So if I can't find that happy medium, I might have to go away for a little bit. What I want to do is make myself a bigger asset to WWE. If it involves leaving, that would crush me, but it might." And check out the full interview at ChadDukesWrestlingShow.com. Also, the Boston Herald story stated that Ziggler reportedly has decided to re-sign with WWE, then quoted him as saying that where he started, and that's where he feels that he should end his career. The same story also noted that Ziggler's deal is up in a few months. And Ziggler recently spoke with Mike Jones of DC 101. And here are the highlights of that. He comments on his comedy debut. "The first time I ever did a show, we had just done WrestleMania. It was a tag match. It was myself and Big E versus Team Hell No. I had the most fun. It was the easiest match to do. I had a blast. It was in front of 70,000 people. 3 weeks later, I did my first stand-up set in front of 60 people in the back of a coffee house. And I was shaking. Going up to the microphone, I kept saying, 'Don't forget the first sentence. Don't drop the mic.' And it's so nerve-wracking, and it still is. But it's that exciting, nerve-wracking, like, this is going to kill them." And he goes and comments on making the most of WWE chances. "I thought, give them a reason that they need you back to be called up, and I worked on every possible thing you have. I could wrestle Khali, I could wrestle Hornswoggle, I could tell a story with a broomstick if I have to, and I have on several occasions, and the broom is 2 to nothing versus me also." Comments on the New Day getting over. "Those 3 guys are great guys and hard-working guys, and they finally do have that click to where you know where their deal is. You know what their message is. You have their different characters, but it's hard to get that. It's hard to get a minute of mic time, and they got it. And they've killed it every time, and I'm so happy for those guys. Having Elimination Chamber and Money in the Bank back to back, I was throwing a couple of different, a couple of cage doors. I was throwing up against the wall onto the metal, and then comes the ladders. I get hit with the ladders to fall off of them. It's a real test of whose body can hold up over a 2-week span. Let alone I'm afraid of heights and hate that stuff. Yeah, I'm a high-flying man myself. As he was quoted. A Raw took place in Washington, D.C. at the Verizon Center. This will be WWE's last chance to air commercials for the July 4th live special from Japan. Maybe they will mention it during the actual show too this time. Anyway, the advertised main event was Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins and Kane. That's for TV main event. As WWE take the following matches from Washington, D.C. for Superstars episode that will air this coming Saturday. Of course, on the network, The Ascension versus Curtis Axel and Damian Sandow. Adam Rose versus Fandango. The results of that later in this video. Tyson Kidd tweeted the following on Cesaro's tribute to him during Raw tonight. As TJ Wilson, real name, Kidd WWE, means a lot to me that at WWE Cesaro is wearing that armband. Guy is class act through and through. Hashtag Raw. The Rock is on the cover of the new issue of Esquire, and they have a profile on him at the website. And below our here are the highlights from the interview. How accurate is the wrestler, the movie, and all that stuff's for real? It's very accurate. I would do blade jobs. I get a call from WWE saying Vince McMahon would like to see you in Stamford. I went to his office and he says, I really think you have a lot of potential, but you're not ready for the WWE. You should go to Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I want you to learn the business. And as I was leaving, he said, you keep working hard, but don't go down there and cut your effing forehead with razor blades. You understand me? In the 60s and 70s and early 80s, the trainers would grind you, and eventually they would break something. They would break an ankle in ways that it would heal. It was just the way that they did business. To ensure that you learned respect for wrestling, it was crazy. My dad, Rocky Johnson, a WWE Hall of Fame grappler, didn't break anything on me, but he grinded me out every day for months. And then he was asked about, do you enjoy making movies as much as he enjoys wrestling? Wrestling is intimate. You can reach out and touch the wrestlers. I don't get that connection in movies, but the impact is so much greater. You're able to craft a larger career in movies. In wrestling, there's a shelf life, and some wrestlers don't pay attention to the shelf life. Mickey Rourke's character in The Wrestler, that was my dad. That was my uncle. That was so many members of my family. And it was the only thing they knew. And then they would end up wrestling for $100, go do autograph signings for $200. Has there been any special moment when you knew you'd made it as an actor? About 3 weeks ago, I'm here at the house, and I get a letter, quote, been enjoying your movies over the years. Very entertaining. I feel like I've really gotten to know you over the years. Most recently, I'm watching you host Saturday Night Live. Great job. You continue to go for it. Proud of your work and look forward to meeting you. And that's signed Steven Spielberg, unquote. You used to say jabroni a lot in the ring. I love that word. Well, when I was a kid, it was an inside term that guys would use when wrestlers want to have a private conversation when fans were present, they would start talking carny because they just used to wrestle in carnivals. I thought it was so cool. Jabroni was a word that was always used in the derogatory sense. Oh, this jabroni, that jabroni. But the Iron Sheik was famous for saying the word constantly backstage. Jabroni, jabroni, jabroni. Around 1998, I thought, why can't I say it on TV? So I started saying it publicly, but the Iron Sheik was known for it. Then he comments on regarding how Bray Wyatt is often booked to lose. It said WWE has the mentality that if they're going to turn Wyatt babyface eventually, it doesn't matter how much he loses now. And that concludes his interview there. Former TNA Knockout and WWE Divas Women's Champion Mickie James sat down for an interview with The Roman Show. During the interview, one of the main topics discussed was who she'd like to face if she were to return to WWE. And here are the highlights from that interview. Paige, I'm going to take her out now. If you don't see her, it's not my fault. The girls been kicking it in NXT. Kudos to the girls of NXT for killing it. It's a tough one. There are also so many good ones. I'd like to take on Charlotte. That would be fun because I'm friends with Ric Flair. He does nothing but brag about her. He's proud of her, and as well as he should be. And then she was asked if you're interested. If you're interested, you can watch the full video at this link. Okay, Tyrus from TNA joined CBS Radio. Chad Dukes wrestling show this past week to discuss working with EC3, working with Jason Albert, Dusty Rhodes, John Cena's recent mention of him on Raw, TNA, Ring of Honor, and more. It's a very hilarious listen in which Tyrus pulls no punches when joking about the Funkasaurus gimmick, John Cena, and Ring of Honor. Well, here's his comments on Jason Albert. I think my game expanded tagging with him so deep, man, he knows so much he doesn't let anything bother him. Where I'm more emotional, everything bothers me. Like somebody says something sideways, I'm like, I'm going to kill that. And he'll be like, hey, man, hey, relax. It's okay. Forget it. Perfect example, when we had to do that lingerie spot, I was more upset that he had to do that. And he was like, hey, we're going to make this work. And we ended up being a tag team. I wanted us to turn heel together. Performance-wise, not seeing him is a disservice to the fans as a trainer. But as a trainer, I think you're going to start seeing this generation of guys coming up under his tutelage. You're going to see a lot of guys that really got their stuff together. His influence, I mean, he was in the Attitude Era, and he was in after that. He was in New Japan, and as far as like moves, psychology, and stuff, I can't think of anyone better, to be honest with you. And then he comments on Dusty Rhodes. I mean, I couldn't have done the Funkasaurus gimmick without Dusty. He was so instrumental in the whole character thing. And he quotes by saying, I spent the whole day with Dusty, and he played moves like Jagger and me, and him danced to it in the arena all day. I actually have the footage, but I was told I was to never allow it to show it because, but I watched it the other day because I missed him. This is the same guy that when I first got there and I was about 460 pounds, they told me I had to wear trunks. I was like, oh my God, they hate me. So what does Dusty do? He comes to work with his shirt off. He walks around the arena with his shirt off. If I can do it, baby, you can do it too. Joking about John Cena's mention of him on Raw recently. Cena ran his mouth a couple of weeks ago that I was lumped in with the XFL. Son of a B. And I was like, the XFL was cool. And listen, the only difference between him and PN News is that he got a push because he wasn't the first rapping gimmick. He wasn't the first guy with a chain. He just won some titles. If he didn't, he's just white. PN News. It's good. He wants to do an open challenge. Keep running your mouth, you know. You'll see the U.S. title in TNA. I'll keep it for as long as I want to. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where you know what my name's being dropped in 3 wrestling promotions in 1 week. Why not? Vince McMahon reportedly held a meeting recently and stressed the importance of WrestleMania 32 from AT&T Stadium for next year, where WWE is hoping to break attendance records, which will be tough. WrestleMania has already been a topic within WWE, and here are some of the notes that we're hearing. Vince still wants to do a Sting versus Undertaker next year, and one idea brought up had Taker going into the Hall of Fame the night before. Vince likes to have the WrestleMania events figured out by SummerSlam, but he's been more frantic this year because of how hard it will be to sell out the venue. It's said that Vince seems to envision a fantasy card for next year's show. Vince has stressed to be careful with top superstars so they don't get lost in the shuffle going into WrestleMania and wants them to be showcased as well. At the same time, Vince has put out a sense of urgency when it comes to making everything happen. Such as The Rock versus Triple H was penciled in at one point, but Vince is still wanting to do The Rock versus Brock. And then you got John Cena versus Hulk Hogan. It's said to actually be a possibility for next year. Apparently, Cena isn't opposed to working the match either. And here's your matches. Here's the results from the Superstars matches. Ascension defeated Curtis Axel and Damien Sandow, doing their Mr. Perfect. The same gimmick they've been doing. Macho Mandow and Curtis Bulkster. Adam Rose defeated Fandango. And Raw from the Verizon Center in Washington, D.C., thanks to Matt Boone posting some of his results. Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event. Starting the show, Seth Rollins, Double J Security, and Kane kicking off Raw. After a lengthy video package airing, World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins' music hits, and now he comes to the ring with J&J Security and Kane. Rollins takes the mic and talks about taking power when he conquered the Conqueror. He goes on to mock and talk trash about Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Rollins complains that Jamie Noble suffered 3 broken ribs, but says he's still tougher than anyone in the arena, and there's not a chance that Noble wouldn't leave his side. He asks the fans to give Noble respect and stand up and applaud for him. Rollins then asks Kane and J&J Security to come over to the other side of the ring. Well, he has gifts for them. He removes the curtain over a podium, and it shows that he bought all 3 men Apple Watches. Noble says they're so thankful that they're going to go backstage and take their first selfie. He continues to Kane, sending him on a trip to Hawaii. Yeah, you know, like the game show host type of thing. And they even had 3 hula dancers come out. 2 male, one with the ukulele or whatever it's called or whatever, and 1 female hula dancer, and we got a male hula dancer. Okay, yeah, male hula dancer. Yeah, okay. Well, he continues on. Out comes Hawaiian dancers, like I said. And Rollins says before he goes on vacation, they should send him out in style. He and Kane versus Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose in a no disqualification match. Well, that match wasn't mentioned until just the stipulations had changed for the main event just then. Rollins moves on to Double J Security. He says he saw them come in a crappy rental car tonight. He says his crew travels in style. A model came out and presented them with a brand new car, and some of the crowd members in the audience were thinking that was Mick Foley's daughter or somebody named Foley. Well, it wasn't her anyways. Well, Noble and Mercury, and it's Price is Right style, even and value of the car, $49,000 or $59,000. Who gives a crap anyways? Rollins accompanied to celebrate around the car until finally Big Show's music hit. Then out he comes as Noble obnoxiously honks the horn inside the car over and over and over again. So the first matchup was Big Show versus Mark Henry. After Big Show came out, Mark Henry made his way out. Meanwhile, Rollins, Kane, and Double J Security remained at the car honking the horn and partying. Big Show versus Henry is next as we get our first commercial break of the evening. When we returned from commercial, we saw highlights from last week's Raw and SmackDown of Big Show destroying people. We then shoot to live in the ring where Big Show and Mark Henry are ready to battle. As The Miz joins the gang on commentary for this match, our first match of the evening. Bell sounds, and here we go with enthusiastic Miz on commentary as Big Show bullies Henry into the corner and pounds away on him with punches and chops. Henry tries to fight back with some offense, but literally within a minute, Big Show cut him off. Hit him with a knockout punch and pinned him 1, 2, 3. After the match, Ryback struck. Then after the match again, Big Show back in the ring with Ryback's thing hitting. Out comes the big guy with the Miz going bonkers on commentary. Ryback takes out Big Show. Miz gets in a cheap shot and runs away. Ryback challenges him to a fight right now. As we head to a commercial break, cliffhanger match of the night. Miz versus Ryback. The Miz accepts Ryback challenge as he return from the break. Both guys already in the ring. Bell stands, and here we go. Early on, Miz tries to avoid Ryback's onslaught, but eventually the big guy gets his mitts on the Miz. He hoists Miz up for a suplex and literally holds him there for like 20 seconds before stomping around, marches around, shell shock style, and suplexes him finally. Miz gets in some offense, but it's short-lived as Ryback immediately starts firing up with a comeback. Strap pulled down and all. Ryback starts up, feed me more chant as we wait for Miz to get up. Miz gets up, and Ryback. He sees Ryback coming and ducks out of the ring and runs away to the back. Non-stop as the ref counts to 10, and Ryback wins by count out. Next matchup, we got Paige versus Alicia Fox. We return for a commercial. Bella Twins made their way to the ring. They sat at ringside, and it's one-on-one action between Paige and Alicia Fox. So let's see for how long. Paige dominated the action early on. Eventually, Fox started fighting back by firing away with punches. Paige cut her off as we head to a commercial break. As we return from the break, Fox is making her comeback as the Bella Twins cheer her on the ringside. Fox takes it to Paige for about a minute. Then Paige starts making her comeback, screams out, "This is my house!" Finally, we get to the finish of the match, which sees Paige and Fox trade rolling roll-ups, with Paige finishing the final one for the 1, 2, 3. U.S. Open Challenge. United States Title Open Challenge. John Cena versus Cesaro. But we return to the ring. John Cena's music hits, and out he comes. He says off mic as he's making his entrance, "It's the U.S. Open Challenge time." We head to a break. Cliffhanger numero dos. Out comes Kevin Owens. We return as we come back from the commercial. He joins the gang on commentary. However, as Cesaro comes out and accepts the U.S. title challenge. Cesaro got on some offense early as he does Cena, but ultimately it's Cesaro who takes it to Cena for the majority of the match thus far. Then we head to a mid-match commercial break with Cesaro in control. We return from the break. Cesaro scoring a very close near fall as Michael Cole excitedly tells us that Cena kicks out at 2.5. Cena starts making his comeback as the Washington, D.C. fans fire up. Cesaro cuts off a 5-knuckle shovel attempt, but remained in control of the U.S. champion. Cesaro gets Cena in position for the Cesaro swing. However, Cena folded out after like 17, 18 spins. Cesaro instead catapulted Cena, who landed on the middle rope feet first. Leaps back for a springboard stunner for a closer fall. The two continue to trade the coolest, most awesome near fall spots you could ever imagine, with Cesaro looking like a rock star. However, when we get to the finish, where Cesaro is about to put away Cena with a sharpshooter, Owen attacked. Referee calls for the bell, but did not attack Cena. He attacked Cesaro. So Cena gets the disqualification. Cena got disqualified. NXT champion got on the mic and said he told everyone that at Battleground, he is the man who is going to take away the U.S. Championship from Cena. Well, did not beat down Cena, so Cena got the loser. And, championship cannot change hands by disqualification anyways. Then we get a Bray Wyatt promo. Returning from commercial after a break, Bray Wyatt appeared on the big screen from backstage in his smoky area. Wyatt is holding a sign that reads, "Anyone but him," which features a picture of Roman Reigns. Wyatt continues to cut a creepy, cryptic promo until he brings it back to it. "We won't be you," Roman Reigns. Lucha Dragons and Primetime Players versus Bo Dallas and the New Day. After the quick backstage promo, we return to the ring where the Lucha Dragons are introduced by Lillian Garcia. Speaking of which, when they did that, there was a surprise return by The Rock on Saturday in Boston as to Bo Dallas' surprise. Then he came in and gave the Rock bottom and People's Elbow, and they showed it on the live screen, and he just he just laughed a little bit and what have you. And then we go back to the live arena. We see Bo Dallas smiling and waving, doing it like a princess style. After a quick backstage promo, we return to the ring, and we get the Lucha Dragons are introduced by Lillian Garcia. We return. Out comes the New Day, clapping their way to the ring. It's time for 8-man tag team action, as the Lucha Dragons and the Primetime Players take on Bo Dallas and the New Day. Titus with a shoulder tackle and a pin attempt, but the New Day broke it up. Lucha Dragons take them out. Clothesline to Bo. Clothesline Bo out to the floor. Titus does the Lucha dance before Cara and Kalisto leap on the New Day with cross bodies. Kofi rolls Titus up for a 2 count out of nowhere. And they go back and forth for a moment as Titus catches Kofi in midair with a big sit-down powerbomb for the win. Dolph Ziggler, Lana, Rusev, and Summer Rae were up next. We return from the break. Out comes Dolph Ziggler and Lana together. Dolph talks enough that eventually Rusev has heard enough. Rusev on a single crutch, accompanied by Summer Rae, made their way to the ring. Rusev tries arguing back, but eventually the two stand off like they're going to fight. Ultimately, Rusev backed down and walked away. However, Summer isn't done. Gets on the mic and calls Lana a gold digger and slaps her in the face. And that was the end of that segment completely. Neville versus Sheamus. We're back from the commercial, and out comes Neville. And congratulations to Neville, as he recently got married over this past week. And if you didn't know, the man that gravity forgot. Out next came his opponent, Mr. Money in the Bank, Sheamus. The bell sounds, and here we go. Sheamus with a headlock. Neville tried to come back, but Sheamus cut him off and hit the 3 Irish curse backbreakers. Neville with a jawbreaker and an elbow. Neville kept up some offense and hit Sheamus with some kicks. Neville with a big running kick to the head. Neville ended up on top and fights Sheamus off. Neville hit a big leapfrog, but he rolled through and sent Sheamus out to the floor. Neville with a moonsault from the apron onto Sheamus. They come back in and Neville hits a springboard. Drop kick for a 2 count. Neville goes on and drops Sheamus in the corner. He goes for the red arrow, but Sheamus knocks him off the top and onto the floor. Hit the floor for a little bit. Sheamus waits for Neville to get back up and misses a bro kick. Neville rolls him up for a 2. Sheamus does a bro kick on Neville right in the kisser for the 1, 2, 3. Next up, we get Swagger versus King Barrett. Swagger comes in after a commercial break. Next King comes in for the one-on-one contest. King Barrett, as he takes off his robe, and we get the bell. Tells Swagger to bow down, but Swagger tries to lock up, and Barrett scrambles to the floor. Barrett comes back in, and Swagger slams him for a near fall. Swagger kept control and tosses Barrett across the ring from the corner. Swagger catches a big boot and applied the Patriot lock, but Barrett crawled to the floor. Swagger met him and worked him over, throwing him into the barrier a few times. Swagger brings it back in the ring, but ran into a big knee. Barrett sent Swagger face first into a turnbuckle and hit the bull hammer for the 1, 2, 3. And your main event. No disqualification match. Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose. Texas Tornado style versus Seth Rollins and Kane. We return from a commercial break after their introductions. And Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose on the babyface side. Seth Rollins and Kane on the heel side. Action starts out with the babyfaces in control. Eventually, the heels took over. Very typical match for the most part until Bray Wyatt's video caused a distraction for the heel team. Distraction doesn't last very long as eventually the heels overcome the good guys once again. And at the end of the day, however, the match doesn't matter. And the focus becomes on the heels beating down Roman Reigns. Even after the match. Raw goes off the air with the Authority guys leaving after doing a number on Reigns and Wyatt entering the ring and hitting his finisher on Reigns after saying, anyone but you. And then what happened after Raw went off the air, the Authority stood tall after destroying Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose until the mid-quarters of Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, and Ryback ran out for the save. The babyfaces brawled with the Authority and hit their finishers to send the crowd home. Send the heels running. And then Ryback gave high fives to all the kids at ringside to send the crowd home happy. And again, thanks for viewing. See what I want to be and all that jazz. If you don't know, you better call me, bro.